My name is Hassasha Miriam. I'm living in Uganda, Kampala, and I live with my grandmother, my son, my father, and all my other relatives. We grew up in an extended family, so we are living in a very huge family. I love dancing, I love swimming, modeling. I love representing my country as a hero. So I represent young mothers. I do mentoring as a peer educator. I am an ambassador for the Coalition for Children Affected by AIDS, peer educator at Uganda Network of Young People Living with HIV, and finally a mentor mother at Teens Uganda. My son is 4 years, and I'm so proud of him because he's my everything. So I'm so happy to have him. Becoming pregnant as a young mother living with HIV, it was a tough situation because I became pregnant at an age of 15. You know, it's like a crime. You feel so useless in a society if you get pregnant at 15 years old. You feel like you're so spoiled, you can't be in a society. So there is discrimination, isolation by friends, families, neglections by family, friends. Okay, everyone around you feels like you're useless. And when I was pregnant, my grandmother took me to a church-based foundation where there were young mothers. So I felt like I was home. In that home, we were nurtured and we were treated like usual people as young mothers, but we weren't discriminated until I gave birth. So after giving birth, they talked to my parents and they allowed me back in my family. So I was so happy that my life was going on well. The support given to me by my family was they didn't discriminate me, they allowed me as I was. They took me back to school, they gave me all that support. After those 2 years, they helped to keep my baby. When I went to school, my grandmother helped me to keep the baby. My experience continuing with education hasn't been that easy. It has really been so hard because I was in school, I was pregnant, and I was 15 years by then. I kept silent. I couldn't tell my friends about my situation that I'm pregnant, and I couldn't approach the teachers because, of course, if I approached them, they would be like they would tell me you're going to spoil our children. So I had to keep quiet and live in isolation. If I told anyone in the school environment, I would be expelled anytime from school. So when I went back to school, I didn't go back to my old school. Of course, I had to change to another school far away from where I stay, so that I kept it like a secret that I had a child. Because if they knew that, maybe they wouldn't allow me in the school environment.
Mm.
Like other, like in Uganda, they don't usually allow people who have children in schools. They treat you like you're so old yet you're just a young mother. So, but I know right now I'm in my last year of high school. It's what I can tell you, and I'm proud and happy to be in my Form 6, and I strongly believe that I will graduate. Well, my experience with other young mothers has not been good. Most of them are chased away from home. They are isolated in their community. Not that all of them are like me. At least I was isolated but brought back by my family, and they treated me like any other person. But most of the young girls there who got pregnant and have children, they are isolated. They don't go back to school. They feel like it's the end of the world. Some of them like feel like killing themselves and going all ending up on streets. I support other young mothers through going into different organizations. Like I'm working with UNIPA, I provide peer education to other young mothers out there. I work with Teens Uganda. as a mentor mother, so I mentor other young mothers and I give them hope. I was in the same situation, but I never wish anyone to be in the same situation. So I would live as a living example to help the underprivileged and my fellow young mothers. I would love to say something to the funders. What I would love to tell them is that they should always involve us, the young mothers, in their conversations, their talks, call upon the village leaders, community leaders, because we have talked about the youth programs, we've talked about youth ambassadors, we've talked about youth support, but we haven't basically talked about the young mothers. We young mothers also need that help. So if funders involve us in these talks, we can find a basic way on how we can handle these young mothers and treat them like they are also part of the communities without isolation. So don't isolate us, don't discriminate us, but just involve us in your talks. It's not a crime, and I'm not a crime. We young mothers are not criminals. If you thrive and survive in life, you will be safe and you will be proud of yourself.